being part of a group. I was always trying to get people together. We did the muscular dystrophy carnivals, we did haunted houses, we did kick the can with all the neighborhood, and I was always the one bringing everyone together, and I just loved being part of a group. And as I aged and into my 20s, I got a job at the 3M Club. And it was perfect for me because I was working in a club that was a club builder. So I was able to join all the different clubs. I was softball league, vacation club. It was a long time ago, I'm forgetting. Ski club, vacation club. I went on vacations even if it was by myself because I was in a group. And during a ski club outing to a University of Minnesota game, I met my husband Gary. Well, I should say I ran into him. I knew him from high school, but I ran into him when I was about 27. We were on the Seven Corners in Minneapolis and going bar to bar, and so I met Gary there. And we ended up dating. And after a short engagement and wedding, I continued my group building, and I founded a bunco group with gals that I went to high school with. And to this day, we still gather each month to meet. And I recently realized actually that I've really never had a career, per se, a job career. My career really has been joining groups and being parts of clubs. And that includes Toastmasters. I've also had sort of a part-time career as a student of learning. And I have a bookkeeping degree, a 1-year bookkeeping degree, a 2-year marketing degree, a 4-year business management degree, and I'm currently looking into going back to school for another degree, which I'll have to tell you all about at another time because I haven't quite been accepted yet. So that's just something more I'm looking into. I joined Medtronic in 2007, and it was really only because I was tired of student loans and I wanted somebody else to pay for the school. So that's what they did. But I really had the most fun being a member of all the different employee resource groups. And I have a list as long as my arm too for that. And in between my club and group events, I worked in the corporate finance department. And it's an important job, but my heart is still with all my different group events. And probably in my own mind, I'm mainly working in corporate finance to pay for my social life and my mortgage. And of course, I should consider at some point maybe taking $200 out of one of our paychecks on Friday and giving it to my dad. Thanks.
That was very nice. Thank you for sharing a little bit about yourself. Clearly, if we want to establish groups, we know who we're going to.
Yes.
And it seems to me that you stand neutral on the anti-de-establishmentarianism concept as well. Give you guys a few minutes. To fill out time.
That's a lot of bacon.
That's a lot. Which
I went to see that, it was really boring, though.
That was bad.
I saw the board. Speaking of bacon, that is one thing that I wish I didn't do, which was to have a very large bacon on a stick. It's a 2-inch slice of bacon, about 6 inches long, on a stick. Couple more minutes. We're still in it. We'll wrap up the evaluation written for Arlene. I'm gonna take my cue from Jason, because he's the evaluator.
You're the boss.
Okay. All right, great. Our next speaker is Chris Frank, and we were thrilled when he volunteered to give this speech because this is going to be his test run of the Tall Tales speech contest that is coming up. And Chris, I think, is well into his CL manual. Is this number 6 for you? Yes. And it's always good to hear from Chris. And we are ready to be entertained by Chris's Tall Tales today.
Toastmaster. So when I started school at the University of Wisconsin, there was a survey that was performed where they asked girls, what's the worst pickup line that a guy can use out here? The result of the survey was that the worst thing you can use as a pickup line is to say, what's your major? Now, I don't know who did this survey. Some say it was a newspaper, others say it was Cosmo, some even say it was Playboy. Whoever did it, the effects were devastating because the whole reason anyone goes to college is to get a major in something, and therefore, by not being able to ask that question, it's impossible for a guy to start a conversation with a girl. So there we are, as a bunch of guys with no possibility of starting a conversation, we had to invent ways to attract women's attention without asking that question. Some guys resorted to learning how to play guitar. Others played sports. Some went to the devastating attempt to learn magic tricks. I, on the other hand, invented my own way. I did this thing called word flipping. And what that is I would meet two girls, say for example, Kristen and Tiffany, and I would flip the names around and say, Tristan and Tiffany. I could do the same thing with the names of cities. San Diego became Danciego. I could do it with nouns and adjectives. Miniskirt became skinny mert. That sort of thing. Did it work? No. But my roommate derived many benefits from it because as I flipped words around and around, at least one, if not all of the girls I was talking to would roll her eyes. At which point my roommate would scoop in, whisper something in her ear, and actually enter into a conversation with the girl. So at this point I knew that something had to be done. Lucky for me, at this point in history, reality television was taking off. And so at our school, there became a audition process for a new reality television show called Roommates. The premise of the show is this. A number of guys and girls are put together in a room as roommates, and then each week a new reality star from some other show is brought in as the last roommate, and that person pays the rent of all the roommates except for one person who becomes eliminated. That's the premise. So we go into this audition, me and my roommate, because in college you don't do anything without your roommate. We go to the audition, and they put us in a room, 10 people at a time, guys and girls mixed up. And so I go about my thing. Two girls are there, Carrie and Tina, and just as I'm about to flip their names, my roommate jumps in and says, Terry and Keena. The result? My roommate is on the television show Roommates. The show begins. Episode 1, all the roommates go to the bar. My roommate walks up to two girls, flips their name around, and they laugh as if it's the funniest thing they've ever heard. That is not how it really happens in real life. It is fake. TV is fake. The episode goes on. The girls follow him back to the apartment. He brings them up to his bedroom and introduces it as his red room. They walk in, close the door, and cut to a commercial. That is not how it works in real life. Well, lucky for me, CBS decided that not enough people watched the show, so there was not another episode. No one watched the show, they said. Well, guess what? If you went to the University of Wisconsin, that doesn't seem to be the case, because as I go around with my roommate, everyone recognizes him, talks to him. Girls are introducing themselves with their names already flipped around, so he doesn't even have to do it. So in my rage, I'm about to set the record straight, to say that I am the one that invented this whole subject of name flipping. I should be the one that gets the credit. I should be the one that's famous. But just as I'm about to cause a scene, I see it out of the corner of my eye, a girl rolling her eyes. And so I approach. I walk up to her and I say, "What's your name?" She looks at me as if she's about to cry. Shelley Smits. I did the only thing that I could think to do under the circumstance. I sipped my beer. And as I'm sipping my beer, I realized this is the end of the name flipping game. I will never get the credit for coming up with this concept. I will never be famous for coming up with this concept. And in the meantime, the sip of beer was the first sip as a man and the last sip as a boy. From now on, I'm going to attempt to have a real conversation. No matter how awkward, no matter how lame I may appear, I'm going to try to have a conversation with a girl. And so I put down my beer and I ask, "So what's your major?"
Yeah.
And away she went. The first of many awkward conversations, but real conversations. Thank you, Matt.
Chris, that was very entertaining. Give you guys a few minutes to give him his evaluation. If we have time at the end, of the table topics, perhaps we could give him some verbal critique as well. The speech contest that Chris is going to enter is our Area 52-53 that John has